Welcome to Horrors Yet Unseen, the podcast where we assign each other horror movies to watch and then talk about it so our spouses don't have to listen to us go on and on and on about scary stuff they don't like. I'm Zach.
And I'm Steve. Let's talk about some scary movies. By the way, there will absolutely be spoilers in this show. You have been warned. But you did go to your first dispensary, it says.
I did. I did go to my first dispensary.
You mentioned that, and I thought they'd been out there for a while, but apparently like a law just went through in the place you live.
Yes, the law just went through, or
Yep.
I don't really know. I don't care enough to pay attention, even though I did vote yes for recreational cannabis because
It's God's lettuce.
Come on. Like,
Come on.
If alcohol is legal, like, it's just,
Right.
Come on. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Getting so
Anyway.
drunk we don't know which bills to vote for is what it is.
Yeah. So, but I told Tim that it really does feel like this is where James Bond gets his weed. Like, it was wild. I'd never been
It's
in
like
one
an Apple
before.
store of...
Holy cow, dude. There were 3 security guards.
Well,
Wild. Walked into this very schmancy looking lobby,
mm-hmm.
handed them my ID. I'm now on some government website being looked at.
Yeah.
And they, you basically check in. So you walk into the front little area.
Mm-hmm.
The door closes behind you, and then the security guard opens the door to go into the lobby.
Wow.
So past the first...
Like an airlock.
Wow. Yep. And so we're going into just a weed spaceship here. And so...
Yeah.
yeah. So into the lobby, get checked in. Once we get checked in, the next security guard opens the door to go into the storefront, which we can't see.
Right.
So we go into the storefront. It was pretty awesome, but I don't want to say it was high end, but I mean, everything just looked wild. Everything just looked, it wasn't
Wild
like,
in a good way.
What it was just a wild experience. Everything was, but the room that, the storefront room had these like monitors where it was basically a hands-on store, so you could grab any product off of the shelf. All of them were sample products, so you can grab them off the shelf. They were on the bottom of the package was a NFC tag, and you could scan that NFC tag on the computer screen, and it would bring up that product. So you could look at THC content and all of that stuff. And the guy that was helping us was super knowledgeable. And I did find out that my freaking bank does not like cannabis stores.
Yeah, since it's still federally illegal.
Yeah,
banks can't process money from them.
Which
refuse to anyway.
It's dumb.
Yeah, so the one I go to has like an ATM in the lobby, or you can use they have some sort of system set up where it's like they're the ATM or something, and they send them out. Yeah.
You basically the ATM there was like still a 2.5% charge or whatever it was, but you go and basically puts it on a gift card or something like that, and then you can use the gift card there, or you just pay with cash, which is exactly what I did. And I'm like, just gonna pay with cash and be done with it.
Yeah,
but I bought some gummies that are full spectrum gummies, not just Delta 8.
Oh,
and
cool.
I don't know that I've ever taken anything full spectrum. So
that'd be like more like a smoking it sort of situation.
I may be in for a ride. I don't know. I'm hoping. I mean, I got indica, so I'm not gonna be. I don't know who's listening to this podcast and is. If you're against weed, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't want you here.
Well, I mean, come on, freaking
quit listening to podcasts.
Yeah. Also, like, I think I debated about whether or not to take one and watch Birdemic. I'm gonna be honest with you. That movie was. I was like, anything to make this movie better. Anything to make this movie better. Gouging my eyes out was on the table. Like,
yeah, I almost
anything to make this movie better. I wanted to make it better.
Now, just to make sure that Nick doesn't get onto us, should we say that like the weed dispensaries in truth are very scary places to be? So that makes it the horror. The guy who commented on our Instagram that Deadpool wasn't a horror movie.
I don't care.
So we gotta keep our people happy.
Okay. I don't care.
So Nick, dispensaries are super scary, and they are horrific. So that's what this is about. No,
they're not. They're great and super relaxing, but they also slightly smell like skunk a little bit, which is odd that the good Lord made weed.
I recommend getting Parkinson's so you don't smell anything anymore.
I'm not gonna. I don't think that you should recommend people get Parkinson's, but like, that's a wild recommendation. At least that's a wild recommendation.
You know, if you want to put up with the other stuff just so you don't smell stuff anymore, then it's way to go. But my neurologist for my MS actually recommended me go to this specific dispensary because he has a deal with them that you get 20% off if you're on Dr. Schaefer's list. Okay. So I get 20% off everything. It's great. But yeah, I gotta say it's the only way I can sleep. Playing Star Wars Battlefront when you're a little bit on a gummy is a different experience. You are the droideka. You are the stormtrooper. You know,
that's cool.
Yeah. So, what's the 3.0 thing that you're talking about here?
So, I wanted to talk. You've been pretty busy. It looks like over here with the names for rating levels.
Right.
Since last week, there was only like 2 down, and now you have basically all but 3.0. So, I wanted to contribute.
Well, I mean, those are all complete suggestions, and
no, I like them.
Okay,
I like them.
So I got a little help from Mr. Chat GPT.
Oh, there you go.
Not for all of them, just kind of give me some ideas, you know?
Right.
I had another direction with it, like 3.5, I'd hit that. Or like 4.0, I like swipe right and whatever. But it felt weird. So I just put things.
It doesn't...
I didn't want to get all sexual with it, you know?
I don't hate it, but it does feel odd.
It does. That's why I took them off, yeah.
Yeah. Now, would you be opposed to a Gen Z titles?
That's a really good idea.
For all of those.
I will send this to my son.
Great.
And I will ask him to workshop it with his buddies.
Don't just send him the levels. Don't send him the titles.
Right.
We don't want it to be influenced. We want... What would you call these titles?
Well,
5 being the best.
Need to start with the Smoking Hot Turd is the lowest.
Smoking Hot Turd is the lowest. Yes.
Right. That's got to be established. That's been established in canon of the podcast.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of things that are in canon, I went to the Fort Collins Comic-Con yesterday.
Yes. Tell me about that.
And it was pretty cool. I volunteered as a bouncer of sorts. They have all these places have special guests and whatnot. And this year they had Erica Ishii and Abria Iyengar, who are from they do a lot of stuff on, like Erica she's a voice actor for in Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Cyberpunk 2077, Fortnite, Sailor Moon, and more. My kids know them because they play D&D online, like on the videos and stuff for this company called Dimension 20. And then Abria is she's pretty much a professional dungeon master. And the number of people who came so I was there to like kind of like keep people moving through the line, get them drinks if they needed or whatever. And so I stood there for 2 hours, like as people came through the line, and the love and adoration that these people have for someone who plays D&D online is insane. It was like, but I mean, it was like cool at the same time, because there are people who came up to them and were like, "You have changed my life by playing D&D online."
Okay.
And I'm like, "What?" And this one person came up and said, you should, I couldn't believe this. They literally said, "I think you guys saved my life."
Oh, wow.
I'm like, "What?" I'm like, listening in.
Wow.
And they said, as a non-binary kid, they looked maybe like 20 or so, non-binary young person. They were like, I had no friends. My family had rejected me. I was alone, and I was about to end it. Yeah. And I came across your show, and the like, you got me into D&D, and so I went to found people in D&D here in town. She's like, and they're like, now I have this community. I've got friends. I've got support system, and like, it made them both bawl.
Of course,
it was just so awesome. And I'm like, it's nerdy, but everybody needs a place. Everybody needs a connection.
Needs a place. Exactly.
And so it was great. I was there for a couple hours to volunteer to, help them out. And my daughter stood there on the side and kind of took photos for people. Like, they'd hand her her phone and their phone and stuff. And it was really cool. But then I kind of looked around and bought a piece of art and things like that.
Bought an art?
I bought an art. Not a person named Art. Got a little art on you there on your shoulder. What's that from? Seen Lost?
I've seen Lost? No, I've never seen the show Lost.
What?
I'm so sorry,
Zach.
I've never seen Lost.
Oh, I mean, don't apologize. This is a great opportunity for you to watch Lost from the beginning to the end.
Okay, I am a JJ fan.
Yeah,
but yeah, I've never seen
Lost. Is good. Season 5 is like a little superfluous, but because the network is like, make more seasons. Meh.
Okay,
and they did. They kind of like pulled seasons out of their butt that didn't really need to be there. But it's one of the best shows that I've ever seen.
Wait, they pulled seasons or they pulled episodes?
They pulled episodes, I should say.
Like, I was like, they pulled seasons out of their butt. That's a huge, like 20 episodes. Wow.
Well, it was going to be like 3 or 4 seasons, and the first couple of seasons did so well. They're like, we want 7 seasons or something. We're crazy. And they're like, we don't have 7 seasons of content. So they had to like add some stuff or like stretch it out or add filler episodes, things like that. But it's a great show. But you have to watch the director's cut of the final episode, or it that's why people they dog on it so bad.
I've heard that the final episode is wild.
The final episode is wild because it like brings everything from all these seasons, like ties it up in a bow and gives you the answers you're looking for, but not all of them. But people didn't like it because I don't think it was the network cut of it wasn't as good as the director's cut, which is often the case. And it just kind of explained it a little better. So, but I think that the ones that are streaming now all have the director's cut. So I recommend that to anybody.
Well, okay. I will add it to the list that just a life list that's growing because time is elusive.
Absolutely. So you have the ratings. We have 0.5 is a smoking hot turd, of course.
Yes. And
then 1.0 we have is hot garbage. And then 1.5 still garbage. 2.0 it's a movie.
Yeah.
I like that one.
2.5
totally mid. And then 3.0 is blank. 3.5 we have as worth another watch. 4.0 is buy the popcorn bucket. And 4.5 is I'm in love. And 5.0 is marry me.
See, I like those. I think those are good. I would be, like I said, I'd be very interested to see what a Gen Z interpretation of these are.
I will. I'll check that out.
With the understanding that as soon as Noah hands us the list, they're all all of those words are obsolete.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He might, before the ink dries, as he's writing them down, the words are changing.
anybody who like writes a book about the Gen Z language or whatever is going to have a really hard time.
Yeah.
It's like, because there's like snapshots of reality every 20 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's constantly changing. Okay, so here
what's your idea for 3.0?
Here we go. So my idea is either meh,
okay,
just meh,
yeah,
or solidly average.
Now that one I think I like a little bit more.
Like totally mid is cool because that's 2.5 is the actual middle of the road here, but 3 is solidly
solid.
average.
Yeah, it's like solidly average. That's good.
Okay, so you're actually you're gonna write that down. Okay,
yeah, I'll write it down.
Solidly average.
Cool. I did want to point out one thing. The last thing I wanted to point out before we talk about what we watched is I saw this article. The Boys creator warns fans to expect, quote, lots of death in the final season. And
why wouldn't there be?
So on one hand, and what's new?
Yeah, that's every season,
right? I mean, so that's on one hand, but on the other hand, I assume I didn't read the article because who reads articles? All I need is the headline, right? I get it all,
of course. Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm wondering if he's hinting at the fact that maybe lots of the main characters are going to die.
Yeah.
Do you have any? What do you think?
So my stance has always been main characters have to die. There are main characters that you obviously do not want to die.
Mm-hmm.
And I also made the point the last time we were talking about the boys to be like, why hasn't Homelander killed more people?
Right.
Like,
I think
that he should. I mean, there was that one scene in season 4, spoiler alert for season 4. If you haven't seen it yet, pause, go watch it, and come back like a good person. Like, knock it off and just watch the freaking thing. So, and also pause when you get to the jar filled with pubic hair and let me know what you think. Okay? At Horrors Yet Unseen Pod on Instagram. Let us know what you think of this jar. At least me, Steve doesn't care. I care greatly. Too much. I care too much for this jar. Anyway, there was at one point where he was like, they were grilling somebody about the leak. And it was somebody's assistant, and he basically just like instantly lasered her in the head, and
like
everybody freaked out. And my thought was like, dude, why are you not doing that more? And I get you had mentioned in that episode about him loving each other, or him loving people, or needing them, and if you just start killing everybody, then exactly all of that stuff. And so I understand that, but I think that there are just, and that may be where they're going. They're descending. They're slowly descending him into this madness.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and I think that
because he really is losing it.
We could very easily see him snap and just go wild on, because there are people that he does not need. He does not need to play this political game. He could rule like a tyrant, and people would fear him and be fully yes people. But that's exactly kind of where they are now. Like, the only difference between then, or what would happen then and now, is the fact that he's at least given enough examples that he could wipe out a bunch of people. So just do it, man.
Yeah.
Like, just do it. But I think that is exactly where they could go, or at least where I want them to go. Kill off some soups, you know.
I could see him just lasering everybody around him and like being so okay. Ooh, okay, prediction. He destroys so many people that everybody hates him, and he just can't deal with it, and he flies into the sun.
Would that kill him though?
I think it would. I mean, the sun's pretty hot.
Well, yeah, the
Would it
sun's
kill him?
pretty hot. Yeah,
I mean,
but would it kill him? He's got like impenetrable skin.
Well, maybe he'll pull out all his pubes.
Well,
and that'll make him maybe he's like Samson. The longer his pubes are, the more power he has, and they're all falling out.
I like the direction that you're going. It does frighten me a bit, but I don't know why it's the way that you're saying pubes is a bit funny to me, but also.
How about instead of pubes, like genital hair?
That's worse. That's worse.
That is absolutely worse.
That makes me not want to talk about this anymore. But
yeah, moving on.
clearly, that's the line. That's the line. I'm okay with saying it, but not hearing it. Which I'm sorry for all of the listeners who had to listen to me.
You said pubes so many times. It made me uncomfortable. I'm saying it all the time. Like I have deconstructed my problems with the word pubes. But okay. I still do not like the other one. I'm not gonna say it. It's not a pleasant. And I think that's why they put it in there, is that it's just not pleasant. No.
But it fits within that particular world. And I think that they could. I think that they could. There's going to be a lot of death, but I think it would be more meaningful if Richie died. Richie?
The Huey. Son? Ryan. Oh.
Huey. Like, it would be more meaningful. Like, it would be a massive shock. That might make people want to turn the show off. If you
maybe, another prediction. I think you're right, by the way, but like people would hate that. What if, though, Huey dies and Starlight is so pissed off, she like does her like thing with the electricity or whatever. Turns out she's one of the only people who can actually kill Homelander, and she loses it because she's so like the grief and the pain, and like lightning's bolts through his heart or something.
That would be a why. Like it turns out that she was that would be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be the
show
catalyst.
Has been known to be crazy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think that for the show to really hit home, I think Huey's got to die.
You think so?
I don't want it to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not campaigning for it to happen. But Huey is such a pure character in this show. And this show is not nice to pure characters. So the fact that Huey's even made it this long is wild to me.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that it would be, I mean, because you could kill off Starlight, but what's going to happen to Huey? Like Huey's going to get, like if you would never say the reverse would happen. Huey's going to break in and take Compound V and he's going to turn into a thing, blah, blah, blah. Like you could do that, but that would feel cheap. If you did the opposite where you killed Huey and that maybe galvanized the group and then Homelander finally actually died. Yeah, that would be the direction, because you could kill any other one of those characters and I don't think it would galvanize the group like you killing Huey.
Yeah. Because he's like their child.
He's the heart. Like he's this completely pure, always giving second chances kind of guy. So if you killed him, then because everybody else has purposeful blood on their hands, except for Huey. Huey has been thrust into this from the very get-go.
From the beginning. Yeah.
So to kill Huey would be
the worst that could happen.
It'd be the worst. Yeah, the worst that group could ever see, and that could also snap Butcher out of whatever direction he's going.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
that because that of his connect, or it could completely lose it. It could go either way with Butcher. Killing Huey could no longer be the tether that Butcher has.
Yeah.
I think that it would be Huey is to Butcher what Ryan is to Homelander. So you could kill Ryan and Homelander. You could kill Ryan and Huey.
I don't know.
And both Butcher and Homelander would lose their freaking mind.
I kind of think that I'm not sure I agree, because Butcher loves Huey to death, and he will do anything for him, right?
Yep.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Homelander, I think he has Ryan around because he wants to feel special. He wants to like feel like he's a dad and like normal. I don't know. I'm not sure he really loves Ryan that much.
Well, everyone is a puppet to both of those characters.
Yeah.
I mean, even though Butcher loves Ryan and Butcher loves Huey, Butcher will use both of those to get what Butcher ultimately wants. And Homelander is the exact same.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know that they actually love anyone. They use everyone as pawns to get exactly what they ultimately want. So that means that both Butcher and Homelander have to die in season 5.
Oh.
They're both the villain. Yeah. That would be, but it's going to be wild. And that's what I want. I want it to be just shock every single episode. I don't want, from the moment that the season 5 opens to the very end, I do not want them to let up off the gas. I want it to be just a nonstop wild ride.
Yep. I think it will. Yeah.
So I don't know what they're going to do, but I think that would be, I think it'd be pretty cool.
So Zach, what did you watch this week?
Okay. I need to update anything that would be on Letterboxd. And I should pull up my notes instead of the podcast notes. So I watched The Coffee Table.
Oh, you did?
100%. Okay. He definitely killed that kid. Okay, I'm just going to say that out loud.
I'll agree to disagree.
That's fine. You can be on the wrong side of this. He killed that kid.
Yeah, I could see that. It's possible.
He kept saying over and over and over again, like from the beginning of the movie, like he didn't want the kid.
Yeah, it's true. Okay. You know,
and then his wife would like
consider that.
He said it like. So the movie opens with them so she gives birth. That's how the movie opens. Right. And then the opening scene is them in the discount furniture place or wherever the heck they are. Like, right. Yeah. And yeah, they're having the open, awkward argument. And I could see the comedy there.
Yep.
I could see, it's still wild that like, you want to talk about dark humor. This is the epitome of dark humor.
I had to, after you were a discussion about it last time.
Yeah.
I had to look up a couple movies, like explainer videos or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Like, how is this possibly a humorous thing? How is it a comedy? And
it's the dialogue.
It's the dialogue and how, like, it's the absurdity of it all.
It's the absurdity, yeah. Because
I don't always think of absurdity as funny, but
no, but it is. Yeah, it is.
It is.
It can be. It can be funny. So, but he did mention, and she was like, "Are you rejecting our son?" Like. Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not rejecting. He was always dial it back, but he would say it. Or at least heavily allude to it. And then she would call him out on it and he'd be like, no, I don't feel that way. And it was mainly about like the name. Like his name was, I hated his name and blah, blah, blah. And then like that led to like, you wanted this kid, like blah, 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 whatever. Mm-hmm. So then you see him, I gotta run to the store. Can you watch our son? Yeah, blah, 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 whatever. I'll watch it. And he kind of begrudgingly does it. or maybe at least that's the lens I'm looking at this through.
Yep.
Walks in the room holding his crying child.
Yeah, and I guess I'm with you.
And then the baby stops crying. The quote unquote unbreakable glass shatters. And the baby's head rolls under the chair, which is still seen by the camera. And I was like, mouth open.
And I can't figure out, like, just the logistics of how in the world did that happen? Like, how did the thing fall? In what way possible to cut off the baby's head? Unless it was purposeful.
It was sticking up like this.
Okay.
So he had those two women down.
Right.
He put the glass on top, and the glass was wobbly.
Right, because he needed another screw.
He needed another screw. So he called the place. I'm going to get another screw. Right. But he still propped the glass up on its side or on one of the ends and leaned it up against one of the ladies. So it was standing on edge.
Right.
He dropped the baby. Neck landed right there. Severed. That's how he did it. Like, logically, that's how you would do that kind of thing. Now, you could have the conversation about purpose, intention, blah, blah, blah. It was still a very shocking moment. And what was even crazier was the camera. The camera
stayed away from it.
Well, it was so in the chair was visible. The coffee table was not.
Right.
So the glass shatters. You see the little tassels off of the end of the chair move as the baby's head rolls underneath it.
Oh,
I broke this. I broke that down. Like, I paused and just frame by frame went through this thing. And it was wild. And then the camera, I think, like, the next shot is basically either him in complete shock or it's the baby's head. Like, it's the camera's on the ground. The focus then goes to the baby's face. And for a half a second. And then focuses back out to basically show you, the baby's head is underneath this this chair. And then the rest of the movie basically goes on from there. But it's wow. I wouldn't say that this was so on TikTok. We have to stop. We have to stop this, Steve. It's an we have to stop saying this is the most shocking. I went into this movie so when you were telling me about this movie, before that, I saw people talking about, like, on TikTok, horror fans talking about The Coffee Table as, like, the most shocking movie, like, blah blah blah, whatever. The ending is wild. What the premise is, like, it's so incredibly disturbing and blah. Shut up.
Yeah.
Forever. Yeah. Knock it off, because we can't keep talking like this unless it's
too many.
Because I get it. Yeah. I understand. Okay. You need content. I get that. Making these statements will get you an audience. I understand that. But there is an aspect of my old manness, like the 87-year-old man in my chest immediately is like, knock it off. Stop. And if something is actually shocking, then you can say that. But, like, Art the Clown cutting that woman in two, that is shocking. The bedroom scene in Terrifier 2, that's actually shocking. That might be some of the most shocking. It might be some of the most shocking moments in horror history, right? Yep. But I mean, dropping a baby on a coffee table and its head rolling into I mean, come on. That's not.
We are consciences and our ability to understand things like this it's been seared, you know.
Yeah,
you and we've destroyed ourselves. So
yeah, because I don't know. It wasn't, to me, it wasn't like the most shocking thing. It was very much, I mean, long the hype of Longlegs, like the most shocking movie in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Like
scariest movie ever. Yeah.
Exactly. And the coffee table, I was expecting way worse. Like way worse, because of the traction this thing was kind of getting.
Mm.
And I didn't think it was as bad as, at least I'll say that. I'll dial back the aggression to something a little more manageable. I didn't think that it went to a place where, but it's also subjective too. Like maybe for somebody else, that is the most shocking, and I get it. Whatever. So I did watch The Coffee Table. That was it was. I mean, I guess it was shocking because, like, even though I knew that was going to happen,
yep,
I didn't know how. I didn't watch it, and to actually watch it, I did like mouth on the floor or jaw on the floor, kind of like was like, "Whoa, they really freaking went there!" And then the fact that they showed, like, because they could have just left it at the head rolling, and you saw it happen.
Yep.
But the fact that they kind of showed it was very odd. And then also he cleans himself up and then lays the baby, like changes the baby. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
At least he's not poopy.
He changed the baby and then laid him down in his crib. And I'm like, dude, you're laying your son's body. What is happening? It is pretty crazy. Anyway, I watched episode 1 of 101 Horror Movie Moments on Shatter.
Okay.
I don't know that that's what the show's called. It's like 101.
Is it the scariest one?
I think it's this 101 scariest moments. That's pretty enjoyable. I'm going through that right now.
Yep.
I watched episodes 1 through 4.5 of the show Eric. Like I was literally in the middle of episode 4 when we started this podcast. That's a fantastic show. Have you seen this show yet?
I've not. No,
dude. You need to watch
I've heard mixed reviews, so I haven't really got into. We're there's a lot of things to watch.
I understand. Prioritize this. You got to prioritize this. This is good. This is a good thing. And then I also watched the first half of Birdemic. I had some not so great thoughts, and then I turned on The Happening, and those thoughts slightly went away, and then I took a day or so to really just come off of that.
Did you finish Birdemic?
Okay, no. The answer is no. I got 90% of the way through, and I couldn't do it.
Dude, it was so rough.
I will finish it. I'm not going to finish it. I'm not going to lie to this audience. I'm not going to lie to you anymore. I'm not going to finish it.
We'll get into it more later.
I do want to watch. I don't want to watch. I'm very curious about Birdemic 2
and 3
and Birdemic 3. And I also want people. This director is in the same boat as Damien now, to me. Stop giving him money. Stop giving this man money.
Okay.
Anyway,
finish what you're.
That's it. So yeah, that's basically what I watched. There might be more to what I watched. I'm not too sure. I didn't. It feels like there are maybe 1 or 2 other things that I watched and I didn't write them down or said, yeah, you should write that down, and then just never did. But yeah. Anyway, what did you watch?
I watched a heck of a lot of stuff. I'll kind of go quickly through it.
Okay.
I don't know. It's one of those weeks. I don't know why.
Okay.
I watched the movie Audition, Japanese movie.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, 4.5 stars.
Is this a horror film?
Yes, definite horror film.
Okay.
Creepy as heck.
Okay.
Oh boy. But it's a slow burn thing along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the ending of it's like, what? Ah. Okay. Devil's Bath. The Devil's Bath. Watch that as well. That is 4.5 stars.
Wow. It doesn't sound like it should get that high. The Devil's Bath sounds like a terrible title.
So it's one of these movies that has been ridiculously researched. So it's like period accurate.
Okay.
It takes place in the what I want to say 1500s, I think. 1751 is when it takes place in Austria. And it's the Devil's Bath is the term that they used at the time for a euphemism for that person is super, super depressed. So this is possibly the saddest thing I've seen all year.
Okay.
Like it's like legitimately it's super depressing.
Okay.
And it's
so it is the Devil's Bath then.
It will put you into the Devil's Bath.
Okay, got it. I'm never gonna watch it then. Never. I don't ever want to watch it.
But the basic, I mean, it centers around this woman whose life just gets worse and worse and worse, and it also centers around the idea of, what do they call it? Suicide by proxy. So if a person at the time, and it was apparently it was like it kind of was this thing that kind of caught on in the 1700s. If you were a Catholic and you wanted to go to heaven, but you were so depressed or whatever that you were suicidal, if you killed yourself, you're going straight to hell because Catholicism, right?
Right,
straight to hell, or not hell, but purgatory or whatever. Anyway, not heaven.
Not heaven.
What they found out a loophole to trick God, I guess. So they did is they would kill somebody who was themselves innocent, like a baby or a child that was pure still. They would murder that person, that child, and then they would turn themselves in immediately and say, I murdered a kid. And then they put you in jail and then like hang you the next day. But before they hang you, you get to talk to a priest and you get to ask for forgiveness for your sins. So you're clean and you're good. And then you get the state to kill you. So you don't have to live anymore.
Okay. I feel some kind of way about this.
Yeah.
And I want to break this down. Human ingenuity is incredible to me. It's incredible to me. How we will justify some actions.
Yeah.
Or come up with workarounds for actions is...
It's insane. It's amazing.
It's wild to me. Like when I heard, okay, this is going to get a little R-rated. So if you're a child, why are you listening to this?
Not R-rated about that.
Yeah. So, okay. So I heard, and I don't know that this is true, but in the Mormon community, shout out to those who are Mormon. Mitt Romney, all of them.
And the ex-Mormons out there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And anybody who also escaped Mormonism. So I heard that can't do premarital sex, right?
Right.
Church, God, everyone looks down on it.
I think I know where you're going.
Okay. Yep. So they do this thing wherein like guy gets on top, or the kid, the teenager gets on top.
The male.
The male gets on top. And then another person, a third party, either jumps or pushes on the bed, making everyone bounce up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're yourself not moving. You're moving not on your own.
Right. Your muscles are not, right?
That's the workaround.
And they call it soaking.
Thought, my first thought to myself, it's called what?
Soaking.
Wow, that's a very different thing that I thought it would be. Okay, that's not even... Soaking sounds like... Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. Soaking sounds like you soaking like a tampon or like an alcohol and like putting it in your butt. And like that's how you get... I'm just being honest with you, okay? You can cut this out if you'd like, but also that's what soaking sounds like to me. I don't know how words are. All I know is, first off, I'm so sorry for saying all of this. Okay, that's how I feel. I'm just apologizing right now. Second, I'm like, kudos to those Mormon kids for finding a workaround. At the end of the day, I mean, just that's some blue ribbon kind of thinking right there. Like that's.
Oh my goodness! I'm sorry.
What?
I just texted you the link to the Wikipedia on what soaking is, and the preview that like the iOS is showing me is like X-rated.
Steve,
are you getting that too?
100%. I have to delete this.
Oh, I'm gonna delete it. What? Why do they feel the need to?
This is like 5th grade sex ed diagram of.
It totally is. Oh my word!
Wild. Okay,
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Some things you don't need to text.
Well, I didn't know I was going to do that. I mean,
well, of course not. Yeah. So anyway, but that's what I thought. I thought, holy cow. Like these kids are just so horned up that they want to do this. So they've come up with this workaround. But then my second thought was, what's that conversation with your bud like? What's that conversation with a third party like?
Yeah, they supposed to the bed shakers.
Yeah. Like I would feel so awkward asking somebody to do that. That would be crazy to me. Anyway, so this feels that's what this. I don't even know what the heck we were originally talking. There's a lot that's happened in the last 5 minutes of me talking.
We're talking about the workarounds.
The workarounds, man. I'm telling you, human ingenuity to kill a baby. Is that real?
Yeah,
like that. People like really did that.
The people that the names of the women they used in this were 100% legit, actual women who actually did this stuff. Like we have historical records of it.
Wow.
Like this, the very beginning of the movie, this woman like takes this baby, walks over to a waterfall, tosses it off. She tosses it off the waterfall, like this huge waterfall. And then she goes to the castle and is like, I did a bad thing. And the next thing you see is the next time you see her, her head is in a wire cage. Yeah, like in the like near where she did this crime, her head's in a cage, her body is propped up like in a chair, and there's a sign that says, "This is what this woman did," and people would like go cut a finger off and like give it to people as a gift, because if you have it's like the finger of the like digits of a dead person or parts of a dead person were considered lucky.
No,
dude, seriously. And like the if you look at the Devil's Bath,
what, dude, humanity is sometimes if you look at the
Devil's Bath poster,
is it a couple fingers? Like, is it?
No, the Devil's Bath poster is it's a woman. It's like with a was it like a thread, like a like going in one side of her spine and kind of out the other, and she's holding on both sides.
Bath. Oh, this is okay. I wanted to watch this on Shudder, and I'm thankful now that I didn't, because
So this string in the back of her neck, that's horsehair, and they did that. That's the thing that they did. Literally, they call it flossing, and they put it in the back of your neck, and they get really purposely dirty, nasty horsehair, so it would like pus up and fester.
Oh,
and what they did that, and you're supposed to like move it back and forth every couple of hours so it doesn't heal that way, and to really make it fester bad, because they thought with the humors, remember like the 4 humors or whatever, they thought that if you're super depressed, then you need to excise the humors by causing a festering wound, and they'd like, the more pus, the better, because that's just the bad stuff seeping out of your neck. Meanwhile, you're, contracting sepsis probably and dying anyway.
How did we make it this far, Steve?
Dude, it is an absolute miracle that humanity has not all killed themselves.
How have we not eradicated ourselves?
I don't know.
I mean,
as depressing as it was, the acting was absolutely freaking amazing.
Yeah, you said 4.5 stars. That's marry me level or whatever that is called.
So well done. Dang. Wow. I don't want to watch it again, maybe because
how do you read that script and go, sign me up?
Yeah, I don't know. So then I watched, I needed something kind of to lighten the mood, and so I watched Hellraiser again.
Yeah, okay, that'll do it.
Yeah, well, that's a lot. I needed something that was like not real.
So you talking about the new Hellraiser?
The new one, yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's a fantastic movie.
And then I watched the one I've been wanting to watch for a long time, Time Crimes. It's all one word, Time Crimes.
Okay.
It's about a dude. It's not really a horror movie. It's about a dude who accidentally gets into like a time machine, and he goes back 1 hour.
What?
And the insanity that ensues. It's not. There are funny parts to it, but the things that you can screw up by going backwards in time an hour. It's amazing. It's in Spanish, so you got to read it.
Dude,
and then I saw Elizabeth Harvest, which is a kind of a horror movie. Yeah, it's definitely a horror movie. About a guy who clones people. Then I went and saw Alien Romulus, which was, Zach, 4.5 stars. So freaking good. Dude, see that movie in a theater. Okay, first though, you have not seen Alien, the original.
I have not.
That is required watching before you see this movie.
Okay. So I thought that it could go either way with that. That it would be like, I would understand enough from like cultural references that have been made or clips that I have seen.
There are a couple things in this that you need to know.
Okay.
So if you've seen Prometheus, which you have.
Yes.
And you've seen Alien.
That does not mean I understand at all Prometheus or Covenant.
That's fine. If you've seen those two, that's fine. This one is it takes place 20 years after Alien 1 and like 20 years before Alien 2. Or Aliens. Really good. And I'm going to get you I've recorded a video, like a quick review of that, and I'll get that to you.
Okay.
But absolutely, dude, it's so good. So good. And the ending is an absolute horror show.
Of course it is.
Absolute horror show.
Fantastic.
Sometimes these movies feel a little bit more like just like action-y science sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the ending is a horror show. Noah went with me, and he loved it. He likes the Alien movies. It was good. And then I watched Monolith, which is 4 stars, and that's kind of a, I would say, Lovecraftian sort of mystery movie that gives you hardly any answers. So expect that. It's one of those total mystery the whole time, and you find some things out, but it leaves you on a massively not knowing what the heck is going on. But it's like in a good way,
Okay.
And then I watched Birdemic and The Happening. So,
yeah.
Along with like some TV show stuff, like here and there. But I think given time constraints, we probably should move on to Birdemic and The Happening.
Okay. I still can't get over that image that you text me. I just pulled it up on my phone. I'm like, what's happening?
The Devil's Bath?
No, the other one.
The other one?
Don't look it up, people. Don't look up Wikipedia soaking. Don't do that.
Well, I deleted it.
Oh my gosh. It's still on my freaking phone. You deleted it, but I don't know where I didn't get that memo.
Delete it on your side.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyhow. Okay.
I mean, yeah. I figure you're old enough to learn that kind of thing.
I am definitely old enough. That doesn't mean that I want to know. But, I'm sure that I probably deserve to look at it. I probably deserve it. It's fine. After all the things I've said or done or put you through, that's fine.
So let's start with the Birdemic.
Okay.
What? So thoughts on it, like high level.
High level thoughts. There are none, Steve. Okay.
Did you take notes?
Yes, I took some notes before I just decided I don't need to take notes of this anymore. It's not worth it. Okay, so here, my notes are basically the first couple of minutes of this movie. By the way, I've been posting on our Instagram clips from both Birdemic and there's now officially two, I think, from Birdemic and one from The Happening. All three of them have the exact same caption. I just copied and pasted the caption because I could not believe that this was real.
Yeah.
It's so shocking that real people thought of this, signed off on it, and agreed to act this way. And that not only act, but other people saw, real people, not fake people, real people, Steve, from the studio saw this and greenlit the production, like the distribution of this.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about Birdemic.
Put actual money in it.
They put real, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know about Birdemic. I don't think Birdemic got a wide release. I can't imagine that Birdemic got a wide release. But okay, so first off, starting from the beginning of the movie, the way that dude was checking out that girl was creepy. Note number one. So he walks into that diner, and starts staring basically at that girl. And I was like, dude, you're being a freaking creep right now, bro.
First of all,
go ahead.
Can I back up from that? Can we walk through the movie together?
Go crazy, yeah.
I almost jumped out of the window of a tall building or slit my wrist or something in the first 2 minutes of the opening credits.
Yeah.
Because there's this song that plays as like the opening song. It's like do 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 do. It's like really, and it's like they asked a guy to do the soundtrack, and he's like, "Well, here's a minute and a half. Can you use that? Was that to cover it?"
Yeah, no, that does.
They played it, and then there was like this long pause of silence, and they started playing the same thing again.
Yeah,
and it was just a guy driving a sports car very slow.
That's all it was. On a real road, like with somebody's basically standing on the side of the road with a camcorder, recording real people go down a real road that do not know that they are in a movie.
Right.
100% do not know that they are in a movie.
So just that within and of itself, I was like, holy cow.
And then just some dude in a blue Mustang driving by in every scene.
Like really slow.
Like super slow, yeah.
And regarding the staring at the gal in the cafe.
Yeah.
Like the first lines of this movie.
Oh my gosh,
The waitress comes up and she's like,
"Hi."
Would you like? Yeah, it's like so bad.
Yeah, her lips don't match what she's saying.
And the sound, it's like
atrocious.
You can hear it, like you can hear the mic turning on, like the talk.
Yeah.
Oh, and if they removed, I mean, this movie could have been 10 minutes long. If they removed
this movie could have been 10 minutes long.
If they removed the long shots, not like long distance, but like the long shots of nothing.
Yeah.
Or one person staring at another person, or like a car parking. Oh boy.
This movie, it at least could have been a half an hour tops.
Oh yeah, tops.
It could have been a half an hour movie if you omitted all that stuff. Yeah. So, then they go outside. He sits down to grab something to eat, sees an attractive girl. You find out later that it is like somebody that he went to high school with.
Right.
But he literally just leaves. She leaves because she's done eating. And he doesn't even order. He just bolts.
Yeah.
Chases her down and taps her in the middle of the back in just an incredibly... It's so cringe-worthy.
He did that. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I literally cringed too.
Yeah. It was difficult. Yeah. I don't want to look at this movie, or I didn't look at this movie through the lens of like 2024.
Mm-hmm.
But
it
was just this awkward exchange. It's an awkward exchange in its time, in every time, in any time. This is an awkward exchange. So
100%.
Then the conversation that they have is genuinely the single most awkward conversation I've ever heard in my life. That's what that's a note. That's note number 2. The single most awkward conversation I've ever heard in my life. I wrote down, this is a video to help kids understand the importance of not talking to strangers. I think that's the vibe they were going for. And if that's not the vibe they were going for, still, this is a great instructional video on the dangers of talking to strangers. Sometimes talking to a stranger is fine.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, watch this clip and then tell me I'm wrong.
Just listen. Let me see. Let me see if this works. Let me play this.
Here we go.
I was wondering if we can keep in contact.
Sure. Here's my card.
Here's my card.
Here's mine.
Thanks.
Everybody has cards.
It was nice talking to you. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Well, that's not the awkward part.
No, that was, but yeah. So they have the awkward conversation, and then he chases her down again, and that's the second conversation that they have.
Yeah, I mean, so bad.
It's so bad.
Oh, here we go. He's walking slowly behind her. And then he speeds up.
Yes?
I don't mean to bother you.
What?
I think I know you from somewhere.
Really?
Yeah, did you go to San Mateo High School?
Yeah, how'd you know that?
I went there too. So are you from here?
Not really. My mother lives up here, but I'm from San Francisco. What about you?
Did you go to this high school? And then are you from around here?
Right,
yeah,
stuff like
she's
that.
from around here.
Clearly.
She went to your high school in your hometown, dude. It's like, what writer wrote that line and thought that was okay?
And that's the level, that's the quality of conversation in this entire movie.
The entire movie. Yeah. So
the entire movie.
I wrote down my fourth note is, so far, every aspect of this movie is hilariously poor. The opening shot, the awkward dialogue, the way people walk, the sound, walk, not talk. The way people walk in this movie is weird.
It's weird.
The sound editing, the camera movements, the news report that's on this guy's television.
So bad.
The score of this movie. Every aspect is the quintessence of what, this should be studied by people as what not to do in a movie.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
And
yeah.
To top it off, it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
About a birdemic. And
you lose all of that in the beginning of this.
48 minutes into the movie, there you finally see the birds.
Yeah. Now that's
just to double emphasize the bad dialogue.
Here we go.
Here's the first date they go on.
So why did you decide to go into sales?
I like sales. It fits my personality. Started out as a software engineer, BS computer science. Software development was boring for me, and I felt that I was more of a sales and marketing type. So I switched to a high-tech sales career.
That's interesting.
Some of my friends say that my BS degree stands for bullshit because I was so much of a salesman and not enough engineer.
Very funny.
Very funny.
Dude. Oh my gosh.
Okay, tell us about the birds, Zach.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when I posted that clip, that's the first clip that I posted. So you get this long shot, these several long shots. There might 4, 5, 6 different shots of different parts of the town, and that hang on for way too long.
Like
and there are too many of these shots. And then all of a sudden, there's like this hilltop view of the town where the overlay of these birds is, and they're basically, I think they're dive bombing places, and then explosions are happening, but they're like second and a half clips of explosions where they're just looped badly over and over and over and over again. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, watch that clip, because I literally posted, that was the first realization that this is a movie that somebody made. Like this it's the height of that conversation, because I could not believe that this was real. I couldn't wrap my mind around that.
And the explosions, not only do they loop, but they're so poorly painted. It's like somebody used MS Paint to do special effects on a movie. 100%.
The birds are just these looped creatures that squawk way too much.
Yep.
And on repeat. That's why I said, like,
tips of their wings fly.
The sound editing is just, it's just so incredibly poor.
It's worse. This movie is worse than Velocipaster.
I've yet to see Velocipaster. I want to see Velocipaster. I'm naive in saying that, though. I understand that I'm saying that I basically want to see a bad movie. But this, so every scene, I wrote, this is my next note. Every scene in this movie lasts 2 minutes longer than it should.
At least.
Every single scene lasts 2 full minutes. And some scenes, by the way, are not 2 minutes long, which means that they last too long. They last too long. Okay. The intimacy scene is wild, and her feet are black on the bottom.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Oh my God. Well, they pan down. Like, they start at them basically just like making out. She awkwardly comes out of this room. Okay, back up. Time out. I'm getting lost. She called for that date that they go on, that they wanted to go on like a double date, I guess. She calls up her friend who has this like intimacy massage place. Right?
Which is like a hotel room.
It's the same hotel room for both scenes.
It is.
So in the scene that I'm describing, this quote, so that scene is way too long. It's way too long, and it's just an incredibly awkward scene.
Yeah,
then you get to then you get to the post-date intimacy scene between the two of them. She just got a job working as a Victoria's Secret fashion model.
Okay.
So that's a trigger for Steve. Let's stop and talk about that.
He learns at the first date that she's a model.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And it shows her later, right? She's a fashion model.
Yeah.
And like her mom, you find out, is like not a fan of this whole thing. And like, well, if it doesn't work out, and like you get the freaking Victoria's Secret cover model, you're like one of the most famous people on the planet now.
Yeah.
How is she not? She's like a millionaire. How's she not?
Right.
But then it shows her like modeling, and it does an establishing shot outside first before it shows her modeling. She's at the freaking 1 hour photo. As a model at the 1 hour photo. You're not a 1 hour photo model, and then you get to be like the Victoria's Secret cover star, and then she's like, "Oh, that's kind of expensive." It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, she's an attractive woman, but she's not a Victoria's Secret model cover star. But that's beside the point.
I think that the script or the budget for the movie probably couldn't afford to use the Victoria's Secret copyright, like all of that. I mean, so they just say Victoria's Secret fashion model.
I guess so.
But then he basically is like, "You look really good in that." Like he just,
yeah, she's like in her underwear. Basically, he's like, "Hey, you look nice."
So he's standing basically up against the door / window of this motel, and the intimacy scene starts with her walking from around the corner where I guess the bathroom is.
The bathroom or something. Yeah.
And she's just in this lingerie, which is basically just your standard Walmart.
Just bra and panties. Yeah.
And then he's like, "Cool." And they start making out. And they start making out in an incredibly awkward way.
Oh, man.
Laid out on the bed. They're continuing to make out, and the camera just pans down to their feet.
Oh,
and I went, and they're playing like footsie, Yep. And I was like, "Dude, her feet are so gross," because they're just black on the bottom. Like, dude, wash your feet. Holy cow! And then the next scene, I think, is these eagles. Because that's what the birds are. The Birdemic is not ravens and crows and blah, blah, blah. They're full eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Not any other bird. Like, and not bald eagles, just like regular brown eagles. I don't even know what they're called.
I think what they did is they bought the rights to one GIF of bird.
100%.
Or GIF or whatever. And they just copy pasted that a bunch of times.
Yes. And yeah, it's a 1.5 second GIF of a bird is what it is. Just looped over 1 billion times. And again, 2 minutes longer than it needs to be. And so, so in the scene where the birds attack in hilarious fashion, the birds are making an airplane noise when they are dive bombing, like that. Like, and I'm like, no, that's the wrong sound for what's happening. Yes. But you want to convey that they are dive bombing because you're not seeing the birds do that.
Right.
You're seeing these houses and stores, quote unquote, explode, but you're not seeing like the birds in the distance. You're seeing them like there's a group of them that's flying in the center of the screen, and then then there's a group of them that basically just 3D pushes to the front of the screen.
Right. They just make them bigger.
They just basically make them bigger. And yeah, it's just this bad overlay. And literally, Steve, that's exactly where I stopped taking notes. And just, I kept hitting the 10-second skip button because I was like, I can't sit through this movie anymore. I got halfway through it, shut it down, and was like, I hope that the happening is better. And I did get the majority of the way through it. Like I said, it's about 90% of the way through now. But I could not tell you. There's nothing more to say.
No.
Like everything that we've just said is just, you could copy and paste it to any aspect of this movie.
Rinse and repeat.
There is one scene the second scene from this that I posted where they meet up with these other people they're shooting like automatic guns in the air, which is one of the fun, and they're driving down the highway and they're holding these guns out the window. And I want you to picture it from the standpoint of that opening scene where some dude has a tripod and a camcorder and he's just on the highway, on the side of the road, and he's filming regular, normal people. They didn't get a freaking permit. They didn't shut down none of the other people in this movie are actors. They're just real people living their real lives. And it just so happens to be in a movie. And so imagine like seeing this completely busted out van drive past you and somebody just hold an automatic weapon out the window and somebody else is video recording it.
Yeah, and another guy has a gun.
And the other guy just has a regular pistol. It's like they went to the store back when you could buy plastic guns in stores and took off the orange cap off the end of these guns or spray painted the orange cap on the end of these guns.
There wasn't even
They're not shooting them.
No.
That's all sound editing. And the flash from the front of the gun is a special effect.
Right.
From MS Paint.
Like
it's a 100%.
I was thinking that same thing.
Yeah. So it's just crazy to me that was also, by the way, they're shooting at the sky, and in almost none of the scenes of them driving and shooting at the sky do you see birds in the background. No. You just see them driving 25 mile an hour down the road. They
couldn't be bothered to add the special effects for that.
Not even a little bit. So
and I go ahead. Sorry. Go.
No, the scene that I posted was like these people on like the double-decker bus, and they run outside, and it's like, come on, follow me, and all of them are like, and then these 4 birds like fly towards them, and then I don't know, the camera operator's wife or whatever, it throws like 2 buckets of chum on everybody, or poop, or whatever this brown liquid is. Yeah. Exactly. But it's like way too much. And it's apparently way too much. It's apparently, I don't know whether it's acid or what's specifically happening, but at one point, and again, this clip is on our Instagram. They are standing in front of on the side of this bus. And they're just screaming and they're holding their faces and blah, blah, blah. And then they don't fall on the ground. They get down slowly onto the asphalt, screaming, and just the practical effects of like the blood on the cheek or the blood on the head and the overlay of the eagles in front of them as they're just standing in front of the camera. I mean, it's so bad, Steve. Again, you could take any critique that we've just said and copy and paste it to any other scene.
The only way I made it through this movie, and I'll be honest, like the last third of it, I just skipped through like the 10-second skip. The only way I made it through is, by the way, never mind. The way I made it through is that Prime has not only this movie, but they also have the Riff Tracks version of this movie where they're doing like the MST3K thing. And that helped. I made it through with that.
Yeah.
The only thing I did not, just to be clear, there's a lot of fat shaming jokes in that Riff Tracks of this movie.
Probably.
And that was not cool.
Yeah, I understand.
That. But it was a different time, whatever.
Okay.
2011. But so this movie it was so bad. I one of the things I pointed out in the Riff Tracks though is like there are so many scenes of that van parking. Like, they're parking again.
Yep.
I swear.
Man, I don't know how this movie ends. Because again, I did not watch the absolute ending of this movie. But
I did, but I don't remember what it was.
I know what is wild to me is that Birdemic 2 is called the Resurrection.
Okay.
Birdemic 2, The Resurrection. And Birdemic 3, Sea Eagle. Like SEA from the ocean. Sea Eagle. And none on Rotten Tomatoes, none of these movies have above an 18% tomato meter. But also, I don't think any of them have above like 20 people review, like 20 critics reviewing. And so I
was curious about how this movie happened. So I looked it up. I did a little bit of digging.
I appreciate this because I was also curious, but I wasn't that curious.
I will say, mad props to the dude who made this movie. He
for real?
Is it Thomas Wynn? I think is his name. It's like, here's why. In this one sense,
okay.
He wrote it, directed it, like did the camera work, probably edited the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the budget was like $4,000 or something. It was like really like nothing. And he went to Sundance Film Festival.
No.
In Utah.
No.
He went there and they didn't accept his movie, obviously, because it's crap.
Well.
But he went anyway during that time. He rented a bar for like a couple hours to do a screening and like handed out flyers. And people were random, like, well, sure, well, whatever. I'm here to see movies. And some people came in and it was so bad that they loved it. It's like one of those so bad it's funny movies. And it got picked up by this distribution company, and he's making bank now because it's becoming one of these cult movies that is so bad that people watch it to be funny, like ironically. And then he got funding for the second one and the third one. And I mean,
listen, kudos to that guy for doing that.
Exactly.
What a shyster, though. Oh my gosh.
I mean, American dream or whatever, but
yeah, I mean,
I swear.
Wow.
I mean, just
wow.
Like if anybody's out there, like if you're, don't let anybody tell you can't follow your dream. You can do it.
Hey, you can do it.
If Birdemic can get 2 freaking sequels, you can.
It's a trilogy now.
You can open up that ice cream shop that you've always been wanting to do. You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, or like the bakery. You know, who cares about gluten? You know,
come on,
gluten.
Well, I mean,
I'll take that out.
I was like, that's so aggressive on gluten. It's wild. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Anyway.
Well, yeah. Okay. I don't have anything more to say about this movie. This is it is an incredibly bad movie.
Absolutely.
I genuinely, to the point where I can't believe that it's real.
I think it's the worst one I've ever seen. Like across the board.
It might be. This might be, yeah.
Well, I should say the worst one I ever made it. Like I actually watched mostly the whole thing.
Yeah.
This makes other movies that are bad that I've turned off. But
this makes me want to reevaluate my Smoking Hot Turds list, and I might bump stars up for those movies. Just because, like, this is...
It resets the bell curve.
It's so... I didn't know that yeah.
I didn't know this was possible.
What aids in the fact that this is bad is its student filmness, and I don't... I'm now officially speaking disparagingly about student films to equate this to a student film, because like it's not majorly distributed. It's not or majorly, like it's not, no studio shot this.
Right.
Some dude with a VHS recorder, video camcorder shot this movie. Like, yeah. And it's, wow, it's just bad. Watch it at your own risk at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Do whatever you're going to do. But
I mean, the riff tracks is pretty good. I would watch that.
Yeah, I didn't entirely want to, like I told you in a text message, you're like, oh yeah, you watch the riff tracks. I'm like, I can't do this to myself again. I can't watch this movie again. I'm watching it once. I'm like, I'm fine.
Fast forward to the spot where you're at.
Dude, it's so crazy. So yeah. But yeah, I think this has like an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. Mm-hmm. That's pretty surprising. When I looked that up, I was actually pretty surprised. 18%.
That's too high.
I also asked both ChatGPT and Gemini the exact same question you did. What's the dumbest movie of the last 20 years? ChatGPT gave me a different answer than it gave you. Yeah, so here was the answer that ChatGPT gave me.
Did you say dumbest movie or dumbest horror movie?
What is the dumbest horror movie of the last 20 years? That's what I asked ChatGPT. Which I'm assuming that's exactly what you said.
So I just now put the exact same thing in.
Here's what it said. One of the most frequently cited quote unquote dumbest movies of the last 20 years is The Bye-Bye Man from 2017. Many critics and viewers alike mocked its nonsensical plot, awkward dialogue, and over-reliance on horror cliches. The other one that it said, other contenders in this category include Sharknado from 2013 and its many sequels, which have become cult favorites. So, but Gemini said there are varying opinions on what constitutes the dumbest horror movie, as it is obviously subjective. The Happening, Bye-Bye Man, Amityville, The Awakening, and Backcountry were the examples that Gemini gave me.
Weird.
I found it interesting that ChatGPT gave two different answers.
Yeah, so I just did it again to put the exact same thing you put in. And I got The Happening, Slender Man, Birdemic, Shock and Terror, One Missed Call, The Devil Inside, and Ouija, Truth or Dare, Bye-Bye Man, House of the Dead, and Leprechaun Origins. And then I said, what is the dumbest horror? And it's to give me the Happening.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's odd that it...
I wonder if I've trained mine in a certain way that you haven't trained yours. I don't know.
I don't have a clue. Yeah. Well, we can also talk about The Happening, if you'd like.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about The Happening, Zach.
Great. Let's talk about The Happening. That was the best. That was the best segue.
So I actually have a lot of notes on The Happening. Well, actually, I started taking more notes on The Happening. I thought, okay, this is going to be a better movie. It's going to be like worth taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
And I got as far as the guy, his stupid friend leaving to get in the Jeep to go find his wife and leaving the kid back behind.
Yeah.
And that
was too much.
I'm like, I give up. My notes actually say, okay, I give up.
Yeah.
And then I started writing like things I complained about.
Hey, and that's okay.
You want to give the fine folks in Horrorland a quick, like, what's this movie about?
Yeah.
Are you prepared for that?
I mean, I can be. So The Happening is about Mark Wahlberg and him learning how to act, basically. I think that this is just an acting class for Mark Wahlberg, maybe. And sorry, Mark, but this is just Mark Wahlberg trying to just live life and trying to figure it out and just be a good person. And ask and just say everything, but like in a question, kind of like he says everything with a question mark at the end of it, or that question inflection where you kind of, hey, Steve, how you doing? Like it just, yeah. I'm going to talk about The Happening. Like that's how he kind of talks anyway.
Yeah.
So
it's called upspeak,
I guess. So yeah,
totally
so The Happening. We should actually just do a formal thing. I'm just gonna freaking Google it because, Time Crimes. I wanted to watch that. I wrote it down.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I love me a good time travel movie, and there's not a lot of them that are really, really good.
Okay, so Google says an apocalyptic threat to humanity arrives out of the clear blue sky. Sounds like a George Strait song. and
It's an acting cool.
and arrives at a clear blue sky with a series of violent, inexplicable deaths spreading across the country. Actually, it's not across the country; it's across the northeast. Yeah. So, strike one, Google. The cause of the terrifying phenomenon remains unknown. It's the plants, and prompting science teacher. What grade is he teaching? Is he like a 10th grade science teacher?
It looks like high school.
Elliot Moore, Mark Wahlberg, and his wife, Alma, Zoe Deschanel, and his colleague, Julian, John Leguizamo, to try to elude the invisible killer in Pennsylvania farmland. It soon becomes clear that no one is safe. So, yeah, that's directed by M. Night Shyamalan. $48 to $60 million budget. I love that years later, this movie came out June 10th, 2008, and we still have no idea how much this movie costs. It's somewhere between $48 million and $60 million. But nobody has the goal to actually update the friggin' thing. 59% of Google users like this movie, so that's on the upswing. You know.
Yeah. How many? 50?
It's at 59%.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I would like to start my complaints with the name of the movie.
Okay, The Happening. Well, let's rock. Let's go.
It's dumb. That's all.
Okay.
It's just
Please elaborate. Explain.
I mean, it's basically saying, "Hey, something happened." I mean,
yeah.
It's like calling a movie The Plot or
yes.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what a better
name would be. You wanted to call it The Plot? Okay, so
no, I like a better name. Let's see, better name for this movie. Well, let's workshop this.
Let's just start. Let's go back to the source and ask ChatGPT what would be a better name for The Happening. Yeah, let's do that. What would be a better name for the... This is riveting podcasting.
It totally is.
Okay, a better name for The Happening could be Nature's Fury or Silent Threat.
Yeah. Or Silent but Deadly.
I like that one. That's a vote. That's a vote right there. Okay.
That's it.
More names.
Or how about The Trees Are Pissed Off?
Ooh, it's going to give me a list now. Here we go. Top 10. Here we go. Top 10 ChatGPT names for the movie The Happening. Whispers of Doom. I would definitely watch that movie. Good. Whispers of Doom. Nature's Vengeance. The Silent Plague. Echoes of Terror.
Ooh.
Invisible Peril. The Final Warning. All of these are okay.
These are better.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Nature Unleashed. That sounds like the tag. Like it's The Happening. Nature Unleashed.
Yeah.
Like Birdemic, Shock and Terror. So, The Last Breath. That's wild. Okay. Mind's End. MINDSEND. Mind's End. I don't understand that one. The Unseen Threat. Okay. Well.
Yeah. Silent but Deadly is still better.
Silent but Deadly is definitely the one. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So the by the way, I found
Nature's Fart. I don't know. Go ahead. You did find
anyway,
what?
At the numbers, the-numbers.com, they claim that it was $60 million budget, and they profited $100 million. The worldwide box office $162 million. So,
okay,
good on them. Then $22 million of DVD sales.
Wow.
For according to the AI people, one of the dumbest movies of the past 20 years.
Right.
So this is a more example of humans are dumber than AI.
Humans are definitely dumber than AI. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what did you think about the like the cold open on this thing?
Okay, you're talking about the
Central Park.
In Central Park.
Opens up. There's like people walking through Central Park.
It was definitely. Well, my first problem was the sky, like that. The rolling credits. That was strike one. I was like, "What the heck is going on here?" I have a theory as to what, but we'll get into that in a minute. The opening scene was definitely ominous, and I mean, it
grabbed my attention.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go on and say that it was like the best part of the movie, but it wasn't bad. You know.
Yeah.
It definitely drew you in. Yeah.
It drew me in. People falling off buildings randomly, people killing themselves. I mean, I tried not to be too picky about it, but I can like help myself. But
yeah.
Like, what the heck kind of a teacher is Mark Wahlberg? I mean,
well,
he's a bad one because he's in this science class and he's like making fun of one of the kids in the class.
That's not necessarily bad. I mean, you got to vent somehow.
Then he starts going on about how dreamy he is and how handsome he is. Like,
I don't.
A little creepy here, buddy.
Oh well, yeah, about the kid. Yeah, you're gonna peek. I think that was just a ploy to get something out of the kid. But I mean, it also could be predatory behavior. I really don't know.
Yeah, and Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel, both wonderful people. I'm sure they're just glorious people to be around.
Of course,
no chemistry at all. None.
Zero. Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
My wife's like, she is so much. She watched it with me, by the way. She said she is so much younger than him. And I looked it up. He's like 9 years difference, which my parents are 9 years difference. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
I mean, she was 28 when they filmed the movie, and he was 47. Yeah, whatever. Wait, not 37. Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. Okay.
But so everybody, like, people started dying. And like, okay, so what happens is the people walking along, suddenly everybody stops moving.
Right.
And some of them start walking backwards, and then they start literally killing themselves.
Right.
And it's not accidentally killing themselves by accidentally walking off a building. It's like one guy like picked up a gun and shot himself in the head after the cops shot himself in the head.
Yeah. And that just kind of kept happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're like, the next person would pick up the gun, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was in New York City. And then it started happening in Philly. And it was in Philly, like the wind blew through the trees. I'm like, okay, it's the plants. Next movie.
Right.
Because I immediately knew that it was the plants. But yeah, and I was kind of expecting it to be more of an unseen twist, because it's not, Shyamalan.
Right.
So he's like the man of the twists.
Right. That was one of the things that. So I was watching a video on it, and because I only watched one, I wanted to watch more because I wanted to understand why there is so much hate on this movie. Birdemic makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
Trash movie, okay? But The Happening is from an incredibly popular director. It's not a low budget movie like Birdemic.
Well, it did make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, enough people saw it and bought the $22 million worth of DVDs.
I think that's the cast and the director. Like that they're,
yeah,
they're going to
because of the cast and director. Yeah.
They're going to draw people in. I mean, it's Mark Wahlberg. Like,
yeah.
So, but then you you kind of want to see what the next Shyamalan twist is going to be, right. Especially with Trap. I still haven't seen that movie. I need to go see it because I want to know what he's gonna do. But the guy had said that I'm literally losing it as I'm about to say it. Wow, unbelievable.
The guy in the video.
My brain. Yeah, the video.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh.
For me, while you're thinking about that, the thing that bugs me the most about this, lots of things bug me. So much of it was, I could not suspend my disbelief.
Yeah.
Because it's set up so much as this is actually happening. This is real life, and we didn't mention how preachy Birdemic was. As far as if you get to the very end of Birdemic, it gets so deep in the preaching, environmental stuff, which I am 100% for taking care of the environment and cleaning crap up and all that stuff. But Birdemic has got so preachy. It's like, well, this is happening because of global warming and yada, yada, yada. And it just shoved it down your throat. It's funny that this movie also, The Happening, is basically it's a message to people that you need to start taking care of the environment, because if you don't, some trees in the Northeast are going to kill people.
Right.
And okay, fine. I mean, I'm not a fan of preachy fiction. I don't know. Even if it's on my side of the aisle,
I get it. Yeah. Movies. That's why I've said this on the podcast before. Like movies that have something to say.
Yeah.
90% of the time, I'm like, get the heck out of here.
I'm a fan of saying things, but if it's like an allegory or something, I just think it's cheap to just come right out and say it.
Right.
That's what I mean by preachy. I don't mind having a message coming through. That's fine, but
that's what I mean. Like the story can be this giant metaphor for whatever the case is. Like, and that's why I said 90% of the time. It really does depend on how you do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of why this movie gets hate, is because it is basically an environmental movie. It does not, there is no real substance to the movie beyond that.
Right.
And I would be curious at that point to find out, what M. Night Shyamalan, like what was going on. I haven't seen any interviews. I do remember what I was going to say though. It was about the twist. There is no twist in this movie. So unlike any other movie that he's done, like there is no twist in this movie. And I think that kind of just shocks people because he's known for twists. He's known to do that.
Yeah.
Thing.
I got the vibe that he was intending the plant thing to be the twist.
Yeah, but he revealed it at the very beginning of the movie.
Right, but it happens pretty early on.
Right. And the video that I watched, so this is kind of a wild thing. The video that I watched put this movie in the sequel second spot, in between Signs and After Earth.
Did he do After Earth?
Yeah. With
really?
Will Smith? Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
So basically the premise of this guy's video is the reason The Happening is confusing is because it might not be the only reason, but the reason the movie is confusing is because it's meant to be this trilogy in between Signs and After Earth. So he goes on to say, like,
is
the
it
aliens.
Actually, or he's guessing?
I think he's kind of maybe
okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The aliens in Signs have this bioweapon this airborne bioweapon that they spray out of their wrists.
Okay.
And yeah, he's going to do a better job of explaining it. I'm probably going to butcher it. But the idea is that these aliens are testing that bioweapon out in signs.
Okay.
And they realize not going to work because the aliens that we sent down to Earth are not necessarily the best vehicles for this, right?
Right.
Then the happening is not the plants. It's this airborne, because in the very beginning of the movie you have this sky sequence. In the very end of the movie you have this sky sequence, like when they're in Paris or
sky
France.
Sequence, like just showing the sky, or
so they keep looking up at the clouds. And like I said, I'm not going to do this justice. The point, I think the After Earth tie is the fact that people continue to think that it's the plants and that the Earth is turning on us. So they leave. And part of the premise of After Earth is everything on Earth evolved to kill us. Which is basically the premise of the happening. Plants are evolving. The world is starting to evolve to kill humans. So
so
it's very reaching, probably.
Yeah. That's actually one of the points that I wrote down of the problem. One of the problems that I have with this movie is that the trees and plants, quote, evolved its ability. That's what they say. And they said it, they're using that term in such a way that we often personify evolution and say evolution chose this and that. That's just a way to say it. I mean, evolution is not a sentient being. It just is it's a process. There's no decisions made. It just happens.
Right.
And so it's not how evolution works to say the plants needed to evolve this really fast. And the fact that it's just in the Northeast and the fact that it happens out of the blue and then stops happening.
Yep.
That just drove me
less
mad.
than 24 hours later. Yeah.
Yeah. It just drove me. I was like, that's not how evolution works.
but then it also moves across the ocean to another country. And I think that's why this guy's going, hey, like this might be a part of an unspoken trilogy here. But in the absence of knowing, we're going to connect dots that might not necessarily need to be connected.
Right.
So I would be interested to find out what Shyamalan's intention was behind this movie. Is it a standalone movie? Is it not a standalone movie? If it is a standalone movie, WTF. If it is not a standalone movie, what movies are before and after it? What is the point of this movie? And I think in the absence of that, you have people who try to make sense of it because they somewhat enjoy it. And then you have people who don't enjoy it at all because they don't know what's going on and they just crap all over it. And it gets 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. Having said that, the acting is dog crap in this movie.
Oh,
it's bad from everybody and they're not bad actors. No. It's like, what's going on that they're acting this way? I don't understand.
Let me address the first thing, and then we'll talk about the acting because I have 5 things about the acting. So, or the third thing, either it's standalone or part of a series, or the third thing is that they're all made by the same guy, and he just can't stop saying certain things through his movies. And maybe it's just, he's the tie-in between them all, and he just has a thing to say.
I think that there could be a fourth thing where the studio got a major director to write a movie about climate change.
Could be.
you could just go, there are bigger puppets. There are bigger puppeteers at play here. And Shyamalan is getting flack for a movie that maybe in the grand scheme of things, he was told to write. And the reason it's bad is because his heart and soul wasn't in it. And that could honestly be a legitimate case. I don't know. Because I mean this is around the time when we were talking about this on a pretty heavy basis.
Yeah, 2008.
Yeah. So
it's probably written in 2006. Made in 2007.
Or it could be written like a rushed script.
Yeah.
Where they start production of the movie and the script is not fully done yet. And they're just getting actors who have name recognition around the time to draw people into the theater.
Well, and I think you got a point here.
Massive conspiracy theory around the Plant movie.
Right. So Al Gore's movie, An Inconvenient Truth, came out in 2006.
Yeah, there you go.
So I mean, he got the freaking prize, was it Nobel Prize for that movie or something?
Something like that, yeah.
And the fact that I could totally, I think you're right. I could totally see that. Like, big deal happens, like, ooh, like environmental. And then Shyamalan's like, ooh, what if the Earth saw us as the enemies? And wrote this, and then he thought more about it and thought, what if the entire planet, like, and then had it after Earth? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the acting.
Yep. Oh, the acting. So Christy has a lot of background in acting and like in theater and stuff.
Okay.
And she said, I said, why is this acting so bad? I mean, it's so bad. Mm-hmm. Every line that Mark Wahlberg said, I didn't believe a single one of them.
Yeah.
The reactions are weird. Everything's weird. And she said she's like, this feels like, knowing that these people can act, this feels like the director screwed it over. Because the director can say, no, do that again, but a different way or whatever. And so if the director is not paying attention or trying to do a thing, kind of like Killing of a Sacred Deer, when they're like specifically speaking in a stilted voice.
Mm-hmm.
It could be that. She also said, it looks like Mark Wahlberg just like picked up the script yesterday and he's doing it today. Like he's phoning it in. Because she's like, she said, I could tell he hasn't spent enough time like soaking in the character. Like, what's this person's motivations? He's just reading lines on a script, saying the thing and moving on. Yeah. And I could see that.
And that's why I think that there may be something bigger going on.
Yeah.
Like because this movie, if we're actually realistically looking at it from the standpoint of a director who has never once done this type of thing before, never once has any of his other movies resembled, before or after this movie, resembled this movie. It makes complete sense that this could be studio driven.
Yeah.
Because it's so bad. Because anytime the studio will step in and do this kind of thing, the movie, we were talking about this, let creatives be creative.
Yeah, yeah.
And if this were any other movie and didn't have the air around it of the dumbest movie or one of the dumbest movies in the last 20 years, like, I think we might point ourselves to the studio. But also, in the absence of knowledge, people are connecting dots. And I don't know why this movie is bad. I don't know why these actors in the prime of them acting there's no reason John Leguizamo needs to act this bad. No reason. There's no reason Mark Wahlberg needs to act this bad. No reason.
None.
Unless it's a purposeful. So I think the reason he could be coming off like that, like he's not really attached to the script, is maybe because he's not. He's there to fill a particular place, but also I'm now fully launching myself into this is the studio's fault and not anybody else's fault because of what was going on in the culture, and because of just that, because of what was going on in the culture. So
I just was scanning through the Wikipedia article, because Wikipedia is never wrong.
Never.
And
it has the ability to pull from everyone. So we get to pool all our resources together, and I don't understand how it could ever be wrong. Come on.
It's super accurate.
100% of the time.
It actually is.
100%.
Anyway, he had called this script The Green Effect before it was picked up.
Okay, so that means that he probably wrote it.
He wrote it, yeah. So after Lady in the Water, after the failure of Lady in the Water making any money, he struggled to sell his next spec script entitled The Green Effect. And nobody wanted it. And he made it better or made it interesting or something, and he finally got it picked up.
What was that original script like? If this movie is this bad, what was the first script like that nobody wanted it, but this script people were like, oh yeah. What were those changes that were made?
I think it probably just took the right person to pick it up. You know,
sometimes
all these things are just like a decision by one dude in an office chair with like expensive leather on it.
I guess. Yeah. Just you gotta talk to the right people at the right time, I guess. They're desperate. Right. They need a movie.
Yeah. So I mean, additional problems that I have with the movie. I'm just gotta get this off my chest.
Of course. That's the point of this.
Also, all the acting is bad. All the writing is bad.
Yes.
I wrote down Shyamalan has no idea how people work. At least if this script is all I had to go off of. He keeps trying to develop some sort of relationship and like some sort of romance going on with Wahlberg and Deschanel. But there's zero chemistry, and it's like the writer didn't know how to write any kind of like it's like they're going along doing their stuff, and then suddenly they stop and they have a really serious conversation about their relationship.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to like they don't care about it anymore. And the old lady in the house, that's the most terribly written character ever. She's just like swinging all over the place, no rhyme or reason.
She's so manic
she's
about
doing,
everything.
Why she's doing manic. If they realize pretty darn quick that it's airborne, why are they not wearing freaking masks of any kind? It's not like masks were invented when COVID came along. Well, if you look back like at the pictures of the Spanish flu in the 1910s or 20s or whatever when it was.
Those doctored photos. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But I mean, they had masks on, and so we know what this is about. And I was so angry.
There's no mention of the CDC at all.
No.
There's no mention of the CDC is instructing you to go here, go there. It's like complete pandemonium. It's fully taken from the perspective of Mark and his gang.
Yeah.
And everybody immediately loses contact with civilization.
Right.
Like, you mean to tell me, timeout. You mean it, I paused it here when I was watching it when they got off the train in Nowhere, Pennsylvania.
Right.
And the conductor one of the conductors was like, and I also was like, how many people are working on this train? Holy cow.
Right.
So many conductors, bro. What's happening? One guy was like, yeah, we lost contact with everyone. Timeout. What? You mean there's no emergency broadcast? You lost everything?
So it's funny that you say that. I paused the movie at that moment exactly. And I wrote down he's like, who'd you lose contact with? And the guy goes, with everybody.
Right. So
I wrote down, what a freaking Shyamalan line.
Uh-huh.
It's like ominous but meaningless.
Yeah. I see dead people. Like everything is trying to be that.
Right.
But it's yeah. But that was my one of my problems with that particular scene was you lost contact with everyone. And I'm like, no, you can't lose contact with everyone because I mean that would mean that maybe you can in the sense that no one is there to pick up anymore.
Right.
Because they did kind of learn that this whole thing is based on your fear. Because in the end, they kind of walk out into it and are not afraid anymore. And they literally walk right through the wind. And everything's kind of fine. Which, okay. But it was also just simply the three of them at that point.
Right. And so, I think was it past the time that it stopped anyway?
I don't know.
About that scene, by the way.
The train scene or the wind scene?
Sorry, the wind scene.
There's too many scenes in this movie to be complaining.
The scene where they go out and they think they're going to die.
Yeah.
Again, mask maybe,
Nothing.
On your face.
Pull your shirt up, at least.
It just shirt up. And it just walks out like he's expecting to die. I'm like, you dummy. Stay inside or put a mask on. And the pipe that he talked through made me so angry because it's not how it works. Like when she was in the outbuilding and they're like, we had the pipe that talked to the folks out and we're running slaves through here and like to keep them safe. Why would you have a pipe in a building out there that anything anybody said sounded like you are literally in the next room in the other house? That's not going to hide anybody from slavery. And plus, that's not how pipe physics works. It's going to sound like it's they're not going to be. It's not going to be like literally like a telephone. I mean, come on, people. Sorry. And I think I decided
the reason Steve started with pipe physics. Oh my gosh.
The reason that the reason he had the deadly thing being like just we turned a fan on, blow some branches around. It's because that's like the lowest budget thing they could think of for a bad guy.
Right. Let's just get a bunch of giant fans because it was clear that they were fans blowing on the grass.
Oh, so clear.
It was very clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the little girl, her mom's dead. Her dad is dead.
Yeah.
And she's just like, hey, hanging out with you guys now,
Uh-huh.
And she's like, fine.
Well, there's no trauma in this world.
Her dad was pretty stupid, though.
Well, I mean, is he though? It's the same. I guess he is. Yeah.
I mean, as a dad, I'm in a pandemic situation. I'm not in a chance in hell that I'm sorry for my French, a chance in heck that that I am going to leave my kid with people, even if they're friends. I want to take him with me because I don't trust them. I don't know.
But you would
I had feelings about this movie.
Yeah. This reminded me what John did in this movie, or Julian, I think is his name in the movie. What John did in this movie reminded me very much of what they did in Cloverfield, where it's like, hey, I love this girl. The city is being attacked. I have the ability to get out of the city and save my life and the people's lives of those around me, my friends around me. But I'm going to choose to go and help this person and get blown to smithereens. Like, in this particular case, not necessarily maybe in real life, but in this, like, if you ever find yourself in a movie, don't do that. Say bye. Bye.
Yeah.
And then, it's survival of the fittest. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to hear one really sad note about this movie?
A sad note? Okay.
A sad fact.
A sad fact. Here we go.
An unfun fact.
Did someone die?
No.
Of a respiratory illness?
Stephen King liked the movie.
What is new? That's not new information. Of course Stephen King liked this.
Yeah. Because he said M. Night Shyamalan really understands fear. And partly because the lady in the water after the lady hit in the water, he had something to prove. I don't know what that even means, but...
I've never seen Lady in the Water.
Watch it. I think it's actually one of those ones that also doesn't have a big, huge, like, twist.
This is just about a lady in the water?
Yeah, it's about a lady in a pool that she like keeps showing up.
Like
magically.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Well, I saw that movie already. It's called Night Swim, and it's a piece of dog trash.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. What else, Steve? What else about this movie?
I think that's except for when he starts talking to a houseplant, that's a little bit annoying. But
okay, I posted that.
That was kind of funny.
I posted that clip. I couldn't believe that I was watching that. It was one of those scenes that I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're talking to a houseplant." Yeah, I posted that scene,
and then it turned out to be plastic.
Yeah, but he's still talking to himself.
Right.
Also, why did how? Okay, this is another thing. How? Why did it take him so long to figure out that it's a model home?
Oh boy!
Are they completely dumb? Like,
well, the kids are dumb.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, he's sitting in like there's sushi and orange juice and wine. I'm like, oh, you can't drink anything, and I'm like, yeah, because it's a model home, you freaking dingus.
And let me make one thing clear. One does not drink red wine with sushi. Damn it. Boy, I'm cussing all over the place.
I know. Oh my gosh, you're so jazzed.
Red wine with sushi? Come on.
What should one... What
sake.
Should one drink? Sake. Okay.
Sake, perhaps plum wine. Because, that's like a popular thing in Japan. But
okay. You learn something every day.
Stone fruits come from Asia?
Stone fruits?
Yeah, like plums, peaches, apricots, all that.
Oh wow, okay.
Asian, yeah.
Cool. I mean,
I'm full of useless facts.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple episodes ago, you taught us about grass and corn,
right? And brassica vegetables. Exactly.
Right. I mean, this podcast is a fountain of knowledge.
I mean. Next time on Fun Facts with Steve, we will talk about the difference between rolled oats and steel cut oats.
Okay, that's going to sound. Is this an episode of NPR? Are we also going to talk about sweaty balls? Oh my gosh!
Oh no!
I'll talk about the sweaty balls. You can talk about the.
You talk about the sweaty balls anyway, man.
Well, I mean that's because it's funny.
So I gave this a half a star.
You give it a half a star. I don't think we rated the last one. I think we kind of did in our own little way, probably. It's a 0 star. I'm going to say 0 star for that last one, or for Birdemic.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't entirely hate this movie, and it could just be the fact that I watched Birdemic and then The Happening, and so anything I watched after Birdemic could have been an Oscar-worthy performance.
Okay. But for the record, I could see liking the aspects of this movie. I'm
gonna say 1 star for this movie.
Okay.
It's not a smoking hot turd. What is that? What would that rating be? It's still trash, or still poopy, or still garbage?
Hot garbage.
Hot garbage. It is hot garbage. But I think if it was linked to something else, we need to know why. Why is this movie made? What's the point? What's the point of this movie? Because it seems incredibly pointless and directionless, and hot garbage is what I'm going to rate a 1 star. So there we go.
All right. Well, let's pick some movies for next time.
Movies for next time.
Going to my list of weird ones for Zach.
Spin the wheel.
All right, Zach. I believe you want to go first, or
all right, homie. Your movie is the 2014 classic horror/fantasy movie. It's an hour and 40 minutes long. It's currently on Tubi. It's called Clown.
Clown?
Clown.
That's the whole name? Clown?
Yeah. CLOWN. Clown. That's your movie for next time.
Alrighty then.
Yes.
Clown.
Your
movie. What's a quick synopsis of Clown, real quick?
Quick synopsis of Clown is: when the clown hired to host his son Jack's birthday party withdraws, Kent McCoy, amazing name, Kent McCoy, a quiet father himself, has to don the disguise of a clown. However, he finds out that he cannot remove it and is forced to endure taunts from his coworkers. That's a terrible synopsis. I was very nervous. Okay, the budget for this movie was $1.5 million.
Okay.
The Happening was $60.
Wow. Well, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Blair Witch was $10,000.
Eli Roth was a producer on this movie. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that it's definitely somewhat better than The Happening.
Okay.
My memory's failing me though about this movie. I may need to rewatch it. Go ahead. We've talked about Clown too long. You go ahead.
All right. Your movie is the 2014 classic. The Voices.
The Voices.
In honor of the Deadpool and whatnot, this is one of Ryan Reynolds' first movies, or early movies, I should say. Not first, but earlier movies, and it is on your watch list. So,
yes, The Voices.
Says the subtitle: "Hearing," in the synopsis, "Hearing voices can be murder. A mentally unhinged factory worker must decide whether to listen to his talking cat and become a killer, or follow his dog's advice and keep striving for normalcy."
Fantastic.
Beware, it starts out funny, but it does not stay funny.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So, but I really enjoyed this one. So that was good. Good stuff.
Okay.
All right, dude. Anything else we need to cover? We good?
I don't think so. I think we got it.
We got it? Wrap this up and ship it in a bow or whatever.
Yep. Ship it in a bow.
Ship it in a bow.
Inside a bow.
Cool. I will talk to you later then.
Okay. See you later. All right, listeners. That's a wrap for another episode of Horrors Yet Unseen. Thanks for joining us.
And we'd love for you to become part of the conversation. Just drop us a voicemail at 1-216-202-5495 or email us at horrorsyetonunseen@gmail.com. And keep up with the latest by following us on Instagram. That handle is at horrorsyetonunseenpod. We'd also appreciate it if you like and review our show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Your support means a lot to us. See you next time.